Right, let's talk about what I'm sowing and growing in August. And I normally, when I'm doing these videos, spend quite a lot of time talking about what I've done in July and what I've got growing in here, but I haven't got very much growing in here. It's almost all planted, and so you'll see all that on my tour videos. There's a few things in here. I've got my last batch of tomatoes, tumblers, which are going to replace these red profusion in the hanging baskets in a couple of weeks' time when they finish. I've been super pleased with these and done a video specifically all about these. They're dying off now, but they're still giving like a fantastic harvest. We've been harvesting these for 10 weeks. I'm kind of running an experiment on growing spinach at this time of year. Now, spinach normally just goes straight to seed at this time of year. I've been covering my spinach at night, so from about 7 o'clock at night till about 7 o'clock in the morning. So it thinks it's just enjoying a 12-hour day. So it thinks it's in autumn, hopefully. So it's looking pretty good. I'll just show you a quick clip of it outside. This is the tray that I planted those plants from. So you can see they haven't gone to seed yet, actually, which is kind of surprising because often spinach sown in July just goes straight to seed. And then I've got a few little parsley plants here, which are going to go in the polytunnel in October. And they just give like a fantastic harvest of parsley all the way through winter, and just a few chard. And so that is it. So August, though, is a much more exciting month. And I've got a few other things, as I said, like radicchio and things like that, and lots of salad onions and things, but they're all planted out. And so you'll see those in August, early August, when I do the tour. Right, let's talk about August, what I'm sowing. So August is the month for a lot of things, allium related. And I'm going to start off with the first batch of Tough Ball, which are fantastic overwintering onion. The best, I think, to grow from seed. What I do find, though, is it's better to do 2 batches of them. To do a smaller batch, which you're going to harvest in late May, early June, that batch might go to seed on you. It might not. It depends very much on weather conditions over winter as to how strong those plants grow. And if they grow too strong and are too big in early spring, then they think they're in the second year and they go to seed. And if the late batch is too weak over winter, sometimes it doesn't really make it through, and you lose quite a lot of the plants. So it's nice to have, but then if they do make it through, which they often do, but there is a chance, then they often don't go to seed because they've been planted later. So when it gets to March, they're a little bit smaller, so that they don't think they're in the second year and everything's fine. So yeah, I do my first 6th of August, and if you look at the suppliers often tell you to do them in July. I find now with climate change and the milder winters, they almost always go to seed on me if they do them in July. So I've pushed my dates back to August, start of August, middle of August, and had a lot of success basically with those dates. So you need to just look at your sort of weather conditions. I'm in the northwest of England, and see if you're sort of up Scotland and whatever, bring your dates forward, and if you're down south, push your dates back even further perhaps. Next up is lamb's lettuce. We are great fans of lamb's lettuce over winter. It's one of the few lettuces that you can get like a really high quality crop all the way through winter and into early spring. Obviously you can grow ordinary lettuce and it will kind of survive over winter, but the leaf quality is poor, and it's pretty unreliable, whereas lamb's lettuce is so hardy, leaf quality tends to be absolutely fabulous, but the yield is small because you're not harvesting individual leaves, you're harvesting the whole plant, and it doesn't really regrow, so you want quite a lot of it. So we tend to do a few successions of lamb's lettuce, starting in early August for harvest in sort of December time probably, and subsequent successions will then get harvested in sort of January and February and early March. Then we come on to our first batch of salad onions, again around about 6th of August. But these dates, as again, you will have to adjust them depending on where you are in the country. Just move them a week earlier or later, depending on whether you're further north or south to me. I am doing 3 different varieties. I'm doing Guardsman, North Holland Blood Red and Lilia. North Holland Blood Red and Lilia are beautiful purple onions, not quite as reliable over winter as Guardsman, but worth the risk, I think. 90% of the time they do well, but occasionally they don't, and you just, as I say, you just have to take that risk. But I think it's worth it if you're in a very exposed location. You're probably better off sticking with something like White Lisbon or Guardsman. If you can find a more sheltered location, then North Holland Blood Red and Lilia are definitely worth it. And I'm back, well, in August, early August, I'm back with radishes, and basically sow radishes through August. And by the time we get to September, I generally stop sowing them. Might do one batch in sort of early September, something like that. But I do find that radishes harvested and primarily grown when the weather is starting to cool are so much better than radishes in summer. So we don't generally do very many in summer. We focus on, for harvest in summer, we focus on radishes that are going to be harvested primarily in September and early October. And it's the same with turnips, exactly the same logic. Really like turnips that are harvested in the cooler weather of September and October. I really like Tokyo Cross turnips. I think they're the best. The nice thing about growing turnips for harvest in autumn is that they hold in the ground really well. So you can sow quite a lot of them in August, knowing that they will not sort of go over. They'll just keep on growing really slowly in the cooler weather and hold in the ground for weeks and weeks and weeks, so you can kind of get a nice long harvest from them. I always multi-sow my radish in modules and my turnips in modules as well. And then sometimes it depends on how well my brassicas are doing. If they're doing really well, I won't sow a batch of kale, but if there's any kind of doubt about my brassicas kind of pulling through and having a really great harvest off them, then I sometimes do a batch of kale as a kind of reserve. At the moment, everything's looking pretty good. Leaf quality on all the colettes and leaf quality on all the Brussels sprouts and things is looking really good. The cabbages are all doing really well. So I might or I might not do that batch of kale. I mean, kale seeds are cheap and space is kind of cheap at this time of year. So I probably will, just to be on the safe side, but I have to decide. And what varieties of kale am I doing? I am doing scarlet, dwarf green, and cadet. So there's 2 different types of green curly kale and 1 red curly kale. And then about the middle of August, I've got down here the 17th of August, but exact dates don't matter very much, but pretty much the week, sometime in that week, I'll do my second batch of Tough Ball, and say they're the ones that will probably almost certainly leave in the ground until June, maybe as late as late June to harvest them. I've harvested all my Tough Ball at the moment, and it was an absolutely stunning harvest. I was really, really pleased with them. So I actually plant out my Tough Balls in my asparagus bed, and I have a lot of space in spring, so I find it's kind of ideal. Obviously the asparagus bed is cut down in my case it's cut down in October. That's when I plant out the Tough Balls that start in August. So just mulch the bed with compost, pop the Tough Balls in. They're nice big plants by March, and they're not affected, surprisingly, by the asparagus starting to push through. Because you keep cutting the asparagus off, basically the onions effectively have the asparagus bed to themselves until you leave the asparagus to grow on. You generally leave the asparagus to grow on in about June, middle of June to late June, That's exactly when you're harvesting the tough balls. So it's a great scheme really, and obviously by the time you've harvested the tough balls, the asparagus takes over the bed, so you basically get twice the space. Then do another batch of lamb's lettuce, and then I'm just starting doing batches of lettuce, and I tend to do a batch of lettuce sort of mid-August. That's the batch that tends to last us all the way through until late October, and that by late October I'm starting to eat my winter lettuces, so the ones that start in September, plant out in early October. By late October they're all growing. I start harvesting those, and then I can clear these earlier lettuces. The ones that I'm eating in winter, the lettuces I'm eating in winter, are all going under cover, so all under low tunnels or in the polytunnel. And I'm going to do Canasta, Navara, Grenoble Red, and Brighton, Riccia, Lightning, Flashy, Lightning, Butter Oak. Yeah, just those varieties, all big favourites of mine. And then 17th of August I'll do another batch of salad onions, all those same varieties basically, and some more radishes. Keep on doing radishes. Radishes don't hold in the ground quite as well as turnips. And then I'll do my salad rocket. So again, around the middle of August I'll do my salad rocket and put that outside. Salad rocket grows pretty well outside until about, depends on the weather, until about December time probably. That's a good timing because by then I'm take that out and put something else in. Then spinach. So I will have done a little bit of spinach in late July, which I know will almost certainly go to seed, so it won't overwinter, but it'll give me a really nice lush harvest for 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And then we're on to the winter spinaches, and these will give us a harvest for ages, so they'll probably start being able to harvest those. If I sow it 17th of August, I planted it out early September. By the end of September, we're sort of getting a nice lush harvest off that, and we'll probably keep on harvesting that, all the way through until sort of March time or something. So yeah, really nice harvest. And I'm going to do Rubino for my first succession of spinach, some more Tokyo Cross, and then we're on to the miner's lettuce. So I mentioned how wonderful lamb's lettuce is. I think miner's lettuce or Claytonia is even better. It does stand outside pretty well, but what we've really learnt is that even a relatively small patch of it in the polytunnel is so prolific and the leaf quality is so high that we just don't grow it outside anymore. If you've got the option to grow it under cover, it's just such a wonderful crop. And the difference between miner's lettuce, for example, and true lettuce is that miner's lettuce harvested in December, January, February, and even early March, the leaf quality is so high. The plant's kind of at its peak, really, in growth at that time of year, incredibly, given the low light levels, whereas true lettuce is at its worst. So leaf quality really starts to decline in late December, and then it's really low in January and early February, and then by mid-February leaf quality starts to pick up again. It's still edible, it's just you can really tell if you're a passionate salad eater like I am, you really want the highest quality leaves, the crispiest, crunchiest leaves that you can get, with so really nice texture to them. And miner's lettuce gives you that, and true lettuce probably doesn't. We're actually going to grow most of our lettuce for that period, late December through to the middle of February, actually all the way along this grow bench here, with a bit of supplemental grow light. So we'll give them grow lights from maybe 6 o'clock in the morning until maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, and then maybe from, I don't know, say 4 o'clock in the afternoon until maybe 7 o'clock at night. So an extra 6 hours of grow light time. And that will make them think they're growing in spring. And so they'll get, hopefully, we'll get really strong growth and really good leaf quality for that really difficult period in midwinter. Anyway, more spinach, keep on going with these successions, and all the details of this are all down in the description below, so don't worry about that. And then another final succession of salad onions and radishes. So that is pretty much it for August. It's a pretty important month. Not as important as September though. September is really important, and dates really matter in September. They're pretty important in August, but they're not hugely important. But literally, you know, difference between a week can make a really big difference in September. So, you know, when we come to September, just pay attention to those dates. I think I'm done. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel. I'll see you soon.